Hello everybody, this is Louis coming from you from the LFC transfer room, and in today's video we take a look at Joe Gomez and his rumoured move to Aston Villa. Joe Gomez joined Liverpool for £3.5 million from Charlton Athletic back in 2015 and is still only at the ripe old age of 24, barely entering his prime. However, with the new signing of Ibrahima Konate this summer and the return of Virgil van Dijk and Joel Matip, Gomez has struggled to break into the starting 11. With that in mind, and the World Cup coming up in 2022, Gomez is in a race to prove himself to Gareth Southgate that he can be in England's starting 11. And with interest mounting from former Liverpool legend Steven Gerrard in his new role at Aston Villa, will Gomez be tempted into a loan move in January? Let's have a chat, let's dissect it, and let's get into it. Joe Gomez. That man's had a interesting Liverpool career, to put it lightly. Came in with Brendan Rodgers for £3.5 million and was, at the time, I suppose, a youth very much a youth prospect, but I can't remember exactly, but he was thrown into the first team, and for a short period in that first year, he looked very solid, looked like he could fill in at right back, and managed himself okay at centre back in the Premier League for Liverpool, and things looked bright for him. Then unfortunately his injuries started to get involved, and that first one took him out for the rest of that first season and into the next season, ultimately ruining his progression, and it looked like maybe he wasn't going to live up to the potential ceiling that he had. Maybe he wasn't going to reach his best, and that was a great concern for all Liverpool supporters, having seen him bed in so well to the starting 11. Then he gets himself fit and comes back into the team, and he starts to, gradually work up his fitness, getting better. Had a change of manager. Jurgen Klopp comes in, and with his stellar record of developing youth, it seemed like a second chance. However, in his first couple of seasons under Jurgen Klopp's tenure, he ended up playing with the likes of Martin Skrtel. Love that man, don't get me wrong. Skrtel, I love you. And Kolo Touré, again, love the guy. But it was very clear that these weren't the types of players who could help take him to the next level. He needed someone, still being so young, even now to this day, he's only 24 years old. He needed someone who could not only show him the ropes because he was already a competent defender, but somebody who could be the leader next to him. And unfortunately, a Martin Skrtel, even the ever-experienced Kolo Touré, purely because of his age, he was on his way out. They couldn't quite be that leader for him, and he ended up having to toe the line whenever he was next to them, or indeed at playing at right back. Even the likes of Dejan Lovren weren't really the type of person that could bring out the best of Joe Gomez. And then in walks Virgil van Dijk, and we get one of the most promising partnerships start to develop alongside the wing-backs, with Robbo and Trent alongside them. But Virgil not only changed the whole team and the way that we could play, the way Jurgen wanted to play, but he also became that person that Joe Gomez could rely on to lead, to, again, show him the ropes as much as you can show a professional footballer the ropes. But they complemented each other so well, with Virgil's incredible positional awareness and also his pace, which I think gets overlooked quite a lot. Both of them, again, with quite good numbers in terms of heading and clearances, that kind of thing. But Gomez really does have quite phenomenal pace for a centre-back. I mean, I would like to see the numbers, comparing him against the other centre-backs in the Premier League for top sprint speeds in their career. I know stats aren't everything, but together, again, that allowed Liverpool to press high and play the gegenpressing that Jurgen Klopp so favoured. But now we fast forward to this season, and after the injuries that took both Van Dijk and Gomez out of the Liverpool first team for the majority of last season, having them both come back, it's been pretty smooth It's a pretty smooth transition for Virgil. Lots of people are saying he's looked off the pace, and Yeah, I suppose so, but by Virgil's standards, he has dropped off the pace. He's still the best centre-back in the Premier League. Debate that amongst yourselves. However, we really haven't seen much of Joe Gomez under Jurgen Klopp's plans, restricting him to substitute appearances, the League Cup, a couple of Champions League appearances, and the odd start here and there. Not exactly what he needs with the run-up to the 2022 World Cup now well underway, and that's what brings us to this point, with Steven Gerrard and Aston Villa seriously considering bringing him in on loan for the rest of the season. I have to say, I think it's a perfect move. There's certainly space in Villa's backline to be improved. I think Mings would be the one to make way, not selling or loaning, but out of Mings and Konza, for me, it has to be Mings who gets dropped. And I think Gomez would certainly improve their back line. A Gomez-Konza partnership, I'm going to be bold, that could be really exciting, as far as centre-back partnerships go. I think, again, Gomez's pace and then his general ability would allow Gerrard to focus more on what he wants to do in the final third, allow Villa to maybe play a high line and allow them to dominate a higher percentage of their games. Obviously not against the likes of Man City, the likes of Liverpool, the likes of Chelsea, but really knuckle down on teams below them that they should be trying to beat. So obviously Norwich, Newcastle at their current point, even the Everton, those sorts of teams, they should be really restricting their ability to get into their own half. They should be penning them in for large portions of the game, and in order to do stuff like that, you need to play a higher line, and you need centre-backs who can not only play a good ball, which Gomez can do and has learnt from the best at that, Virgil van Dijk, but can also track back, because at some point you are going to lose the ball, and when you play a high line you are vulnerable to counter-attacks. I can't think of too many players better that I'd want chasing back, at least centre-back wise. You've got Kyle Walker right back and what have you, who can bomb it back up and down all game. But as far as centre-backs go, the likes of Gomez and Konsa, there's not too many more I'd trust to win a flat-out sprint with a striker in the Premier League. And again with Konsa, he's been overlooked a lot for some reason, with Mings being preferential for the England squad. It does baffle me that he hasn't been found out by the England management team. That's for a separate video, whether Southgate is fit to make those kinds of decisions. I won't get into that too much. But really for me, Gomez and Konsa are clear of a Tyrone Mings and should absolutely be in consideration. But I totally get, and that's why this loan I feel is so important, potentially not just for Gomez's Liverpool career. I think he needs minutes to get back into the swing of things and also to show what he can do again. But I think it's really, really important for him and Konsa's chances of playing in the World Cup. Because it's not just about putting in good performances, but if you're playing against a potential international partner and you form a good relationship, then how can the England manager, turn that away? You've got two centre-backs who are playing week in, week out with each other. They'll know each other's strengths and weaknesses. They'll be playing, somewhat of a similar style that you hope England would try to play, especially against some of the teams they're likely to face in the group stages and early on in the competition. They'll want to be dominating games. They'll want to have a higher line. I'm not saying that Gomez and Konsa should be the starting two centre-backs in the World Cup if they play well, but I'm saying that is a fantastic resource to have, and it's not something that should be overlooked or ignored for, frankly, what I can't think of as anything else than favouritism for Tyrone Mings. He lacks so many basic fundamentals to be an international centre-back. He makes so many rash mistakes. just really not what you're looking for. And I think the drop off from even a Harry Maguire, who I know has been dreadful recently, but he's still better than Tyrone Mings. But the drop off from a Maguire, even from a John Stones, down to that, no. And I think a Gomez and a Konsa bridge that gap much better. And even if they are just to be depth players, just someone to take along, which I don't think would be the case. I think if you're taking a Gomez, he definitely gets minutes. If you're taking a Konsa, realistically, he should get minutes. But hey, who knows? I mean, frankly, I know that leaves us again another defender short if he does go in January, but I'd prefer him to go. I always thought it would be difficult having 4, apart from Van Dijk, then 3 quite evenly matched centre-backs, and then poor Nat Phillips behind them. So I think it'd be very valuable for Gomez to go out. I mean, Matip's, a strong gust of wind away from getting an injury at this point. He's been soldiering on for a long time now without picking anything up, which is quite staggering. But, history just shows that with these players like Matip, Keita, you get your hopes up that they've kind of brushed it aside, and then they'll just pick up something else, and that will rule them out for the next 3-4 weeks, couple of months. So I'm not going to get my hopes up that Matip will last the whole season. Likewise, Konate, who's been getting a lot of flack, quite undeservedly. I think I'm not sure if he's lost a game playing for us a full 90. I might be wrong about that, but he looked fantastic in the Man U game. A couple of shaky performances here and there, but that's to be expected, and I don't think he deserves criticism more than any other new player coming into a new league with a new team at the standards and expectations of a club like Liverpool. I think we should all just lay off him and give him the chance that he needs to fully get himself caught up. And who else to do that? Who else better to do that with than alongside a Virgil van Dijk? So what do you guys think? Should Gomez move to Aston Villa on loan? Does he deserve to get into the England squad for the World Cup? Does that depend on this loan? Or do you see him fighting for his place in the Liverpool starting 11 this season? Let us know down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Louis, part of the LFC Transfer Room, and we'll see you in the next video. Cheers.